85,
90.
90, 95.
We're playing for keeps.
We're on the market. Stay strong, sir.
Sold! Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 28th of October. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
October is done, Gary. Bring on November, bring on December, bring on Speedos and pina coladas.
Bring on the horses, Phil. The horses are on the track warming up for the...
In the mounting yard.
By the next time this goes to air, there will have been a winner of the 2026 Melbourne Cup. And by the way, Phil, if you're watching television on the Melbourne Cup, or for those that might be watching next week, you might just see me out there because I've got a horse running at Flemington.
You've got a horse running in the Melbourne Cup?
On Melbourne Cup Day.
On Melbourne Cup Day.
At Flemington.
At Flemington,
yeah,
okay.
Outside of the Cup, the races aren't the best of races.
So is your horse one of the little Shetland ponies that they have where people are, little kids pay, I don't know, $1 to sit on the back?
Yeah, you're not getting any part of that dollar.
No.
That's my own private
It's your
business,
own
Phil.
Shetland Pony
That's my
Investment
own,
Trust.
No, I've got Cadmus is the name of the horse, Phil.
Yep.
CADMUS.
So this is a Group 1 race, Gary?
No, it's not a Group 1 race. It's not a Group 2 or a Group 3. It's just a race, you know. It's just a race. Melbourne Cup is the race. The others are a bit, the Derby's the big day, Phil, where all the big races are. Melbourne Cup is a little bit down.
So I actually didn't know this because there's about 10 races on Melbourne Cup Day, isn't there?
Yes.
There's the Melbourne Cup race.
Yes.
Understandable, everybody knows what that is. But the other 9 races are just kind of hack races, are they?
I'm not going to say that. There is a race for greys. You know, you have to qualify to win the race.
Grey, I presume.
That's it, a grey horse. Anyway, Cadmus is running in the distance race, but it's not the Melbourne Cup distance race. So
are you asking our viewers to get on it?
No, I'm not, because I don't think we give it much chance. But you know what? You've got a horse running. We're there. We'll have some fun, you know, and I don't have to work.
And do you have colours, Gary?
Do I have colours?
Like, is there a House of Gary?
Well, there are colours. Horses do have silks and colours, but I'm not that much. I own about, see your finger? That's about as much as I own of that horse. So no colours there, Phil. I don't get any colour rights. But look, you're right. It's the end of October. It's an interesting time. And wow.
Let's talk,
it's 2/3 of spring down.
Let's talk, though, viewers, about the Super Weekend that was just held.
It was a ripper,
one of the biggest all-time weekends in the history of auctions in Melbourne. And we were very busy, Gary, and we were leading the success rate because it was a massive weekend, and the stats were, Gary?
68% was the industry average, Philip.
68?
REA said 69, Domain said 67, so 68%. But the Gary Peer Associates, 32 out of 35, Philip, was 91%. Get the towers up. Boast music. I love it when the boast music happens. And what an exciting weekend. Our guys were hard at work. There were deals happening on Friday night. A few sold before auction, Phil. Quite a bit sold before auction. But Friday night there were sales happening. Thursday night we had an office, we had a function on Thursday night. And he's been a little bit sniffly. He wasn't well enough to come, but I went. But I was on the phone a lot during that office function, Phil. And then on Saturday they were selling in the morning and afternoon. And by the way, I did a 9:30 a.m. I think you'd be very proud of me. I did a 9:30 a.m. auction on a Sunday, Phil, and that I don't think I've ever done a 9:30 a.m. And as you know, I'm not the most highly functioning person first thing in the morning.
What time did you have to get up for that?
Oh, 8:50.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I got up at sort of 8:15.
Do you have a juice and a piece of toast?
I had a bit of coffee and a bit of, I don't eat breakfast, as you know. But
I just want to talk about that 9:30 and 5:30 auctions. So 9:30 a.m. We've done many 9:30 Sunday auctions, and there is no time that is a bad time, and there's no time that's a particularly good time. We start them from as early as 9:30 on a Sunday morning, take them right through to 5:30 in the afternoon. In fact, I think we're going to see a lot more 5:30s as the weather gets better. So nothing wrong. The time makes no difference.
And I keep saying to Philip, I'm going to say it here, before I retire, and I've got a long time to go, I'm going to do that midnight auction, Phil. I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it. Even if I have to buy a house or an apartment or something and sell it myself, I'm going to get that midnight auction. But what is the best auction time, Phil?
The time of your auction.
That's it. That was like a politician there. I reckon Kamala would have been proud of that, because that's kind of a
that's why they pay me the big money, Gary.
It is indeed. Now, Phil, I know real estate's a good business, but I want to talk about another business prospect I've got because there's the machete bins. In Melbourne. $300,000 per machete bin. Did you know that? That's the cost of a machete bin.
I would have loved the contract.
I know. I think
the bin for machetes.
I think Vizzy got that contract. Well done to them.
But, it's a good gig if you can get it.
Hang on, that's the start because there's been attacks with cricket bats and with crowbars.
Yes.
So I reckon now, when you go to the the Salvation Army, and there's like, put your clothes over here and your shoes over here, and because hopefully you give a lot of your good clothes away, because I do, and you've got goodness knows you've got plenty of them. So I think now we're going to have the cricket bat bin, the machete bin, and the crowbar bin. And I think Visy's going to have a good year. Can you invest in Visy? Because
no, it's a privately held company, Gary,
business,
and they do not need your pathetic couple of dollars that you could invest.
Fair enough. Phil, people continue to come from away from our shores of Victoria to buy property, and one of the interesting sales that we made last week was in Poth Road.
Yes.
Poth Road and Paget Street, a big block of land, some imagery of it here.
Poth Road, Murrumbina.
No. This time it's Poth Road in Hughesdale, actually, Phil.
Poth
it's the other
Road.
side of the road. One side of the road to another can make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dandenong Road can be Caulfield, can be Armidale.
Good point.
North Road can be many suburbs, Phil,
Yes.
depending on which side of the road. But a buyer flew in from Adelaide, Philip, to buy that property, which I thought was very interesting. Those two properties were sold for north of $4 million. So congratulations to Christian de Vries and to the wonderful Jizzy Wang, who both worked on that together. And that had been the same family for decades, Phil. So a great privilege and honour it was.
Great location there.
Now, our hottest auction on the weekend was in Merker Lane, Phil. Do you know Merker Lane well?
I do. Runs off Barclay Street, just behind Inkerman, Gary.
It does, Phil. You're right. You are right. In fact, I forgot where Merker Lane was, so I was happy to sort of throw to you. But 7 bidders for this property, Philip.
That was a very sexy property. Shout out to Liam, who had handled that property from start to finish. But I believe there were 7 people bidding there, Gary.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a record, I think.
We were expecting 7 to 770. That was the range, and the reserve was there, Phil. But it just ran away. It's an undisclosed amount. But that was let's hear it. Runaway train. I love a runaway train, Phil. And that was probably our runaway train from the auction. But again, going back to the Bayside Groove, Phil, in Shelley Street, Elwood, we had a couple of people competing for this apartment. We actually had postponed the auction and repriced it, and lo and behold, it ended up selling for above the reprice, Philip. Sold for $737,000 with
Standout result there.
Good one. Now, Phil, I went to a home on the weekend on the corner of Frederick Street and North Road.
Yes.
This was such a great house. 399 North Road. It's now for sale at around 1925 or 1929. This is a house on a great parcel of land with a swimming pool, really solid, great looking home. I reckon that is a screaming, Phil. There's a horn going. They must have heard me. That is a screaming buy. That is a screaming buy, and I'd like some screaming because that's a screamingly good purchase. Phil, Turner Avenue was my 9:30 a.m. auction.
Yes, where the truth of the success of the 9:30 auction was it took until 5:30 that afternoon for it to sell.
Well, it takes a while for me to get.
So you were the warm act. You were the warm-up act for Aviv Samuel, who, whilst he was with you between 9 and 9:30, he carried the lantern for that property all the way through till 5:30, where he transacted. So a massive shout out to Aviv Samuel and to the vendors there, because that was a successful sale within the 24-hour window.
It's the first time in my entire life, after the 9:30 auction, I thought, do I have a little nap afterwards? Are you a napper during the day? Do you nap?
Do you know what? I love a nap.
Do you?
And
I never nap.
In my next life, when we have palatial offices...
Well, between now and your next life, you'll have a lot of time to nap. But go on.
If we could do it all over again and have illustrious offices that were big enough to have a couch, I would have just a 15-minute nap in the afternoon. I love a 15-minute nap.
See, I've never napped. I'm not a napper, Phil. I've never napped, but I thought for the first time, because 9:30, I am a late person, as you know, and 9:30 was a challenge. But anyway, sold. It's priced between 1.2 and 1.3. Sold in its range. It's undisclosed. I'm not sure why. But anyway, well done. When I was up and fired up, Phil, well after my 9:30 auction, I was at 7 at 3 Glen Ira Road, Ripponlea, and I just want to say hello to the vendors and thank them, because they are delightful people who I've known for like 30 years. Anyway, Mark Kirkham and Lisa Alberts did a great job of this apartment. The range was 980 to 1,075,000, and it sold in the range, Phil, and sold to some delightful people. Hey, 82 Oron Crescent. We're talking a lot about ourselves.
Yes.
We don't have much coming up this weekend. 82 Oron Crescent. Now, Phil, this was a property that just was beautifully presented. It was an interesting property. There wasn't a lot like it.
No.
And it caught us a little bit by surprise at how popular it was.
Really strong competition there, Gary. Whilst the selling price is undisclosed and the final buyer is undisclosed, of course, really good, strong interest from young families. That was a house with there was a wonderful, wonderful package. So no surprise that there was good interest first.
Yep.
Although the final selling price was very strong, sold prior to auction.
Congratulations to the vendors who we've known for a long time, who are wonderful supporters. Thank you. Well done to the buyer,
Yeah.
who was also well known to us, but it was a hot competition, wasn't it? And
It was.
kind of just, there was an advocate, I don't think it's a secret to say this, Phil, there was a buyer's advocate who put in a strong offer, wanted to buy it, take it off the market, and it set the fuse. It was like, Mission Impossible, where the fuse goes and then all of a sudden, bang, and it exploded. Phil, 11 at 57 Lansdowne Road apartments continue to be popular.
Yep.
And this one was very popular. Simon Radolnik auction, this sold for $547,500. Simon Radolnik's got a little bit of a lurgy, like you've had a bit of a lurgy.
Do you know it's going round,
It's
and I
going
don't
round,
wish
isn't
it upon anybody.
No.
Oh, actually, now that I come to think of it, it's a few people.
A few
Yeah,
agents,
it's
a
a
few
few
other-
people that I
other
would wish it
companies,
on. But, I have recovered strongly, thank you.
Yeah, well, you're not 100%, but you're pretty good.
Yeah, but
and-
my 60%, Gary, is somebody else's 110%.
No question about that. Well, we won't question it anyway. But Phil, having said that, you were in fine form for your Sunday afternoon auction in Airdrie Road. And this was an interesting property because we've had a bit of history with this property,
Yes.
and of course with that street, which was the actual residential address of your dear beloved
And
wife,
I
Irene.
did announce it. I
You
did announce it.
Yeah.
That I have taken out drunken women from this street.
Oh, I don't know. Was that your wife, or was that
That was her.
Oh, was she drunk? Was she?
Well, she was drunk on her first date. She had to be.
Well, I know she was drunk when she said yes and you proposed to her. I wasn't sure about the first date, but that was a wonderful property, wasn't it, Phil? And
Terrific.
Congratulations to the buyer of that
Lovely
home.
sellers, lovely buyers, a nice outcome.
Now, Phil, we don't have anything to talk about being auctioned this weekend because we're not going to go to auction this weekend because Saturday's Derby Day, Phil. It's the
Yep.
big day. It's a very big holiday. It's a very sacred holiday. So sacred, in fact, that we will not have any auctions. But we do have a couple of properties that are scheduled for auction. They may not make it, Phil, because they could sell before, or, anything can happen. One of those is 5 Bruce Street in Brighton East. Now, that's due to go up for auction in a couple of days, Phil, at 6:30 p.m. We love a twilight auction. Tell us about this.
We did
great
talk
looking
about
home.
this last week. It was a feature property of ours. This is a massive 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom family home. Plenty of off-street car parking. You've got a beautiful parcel of land, 652 square metres of East Brighton's finest.
They don't get bigger and they don't get better, Phil, but there's certainly a great property on offer again. This time in Bentley, Phil, not in Brighton East, but pretty close by in Marquis Road, spelt as in Marquis. Tell us about this beautiful
Gary,
property.
Leon Guzenfitter and Vanessa McGlynn have had the honours there. This is the most stunning home. They've done a video on this and they did a great job there too. This is a resort-style luxury meets period elegance. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. This is the house with absolutely everything. Completely stunning. What a beautiful home.
Hey, Phil, before we go, let's just talk about a few feature properties. 12B Lock Avenue is one of them.
Gary, this is a brand new property. Everything here is done so beautifully. It's completely on trend. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a lock-up garage, beautiful timber floorboards throughout, even has a lift. So all of those right sizes, downsizers, empty nesters, all young families can all have the opportunity to buy that. It's a beautiful property and been finished to the highest standards.
I love a lift. It's an extraordinary concept. There was a time where you would think to have a lift in a private, just a one-off residence. It's an incredible luxury, isn't it? But they're out there, aren't they?
Do you know what's so sensible?
Yep. Phil, James Strickler Huntley, this estate style property. We've sold this once in the past. This is an absolute showpiece of a home, Philip, on a huge block of land. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, a massive parcel of land, Gary. In fact, really a double block, even though it is on one title. You've got a tennis court, you've got a swimming pool, you've got the most magnificent house throughout. Dizzy Wang, Christian de Vries have got the honours of handling that property, the most stunning family
I think
home.
Aline Joffe's had some role in that as well, Philip. Before we go, let's just talk about Go Street, Phil. Number 16, Go Street, handled by Leo Yu.
Together with Benjamin Rothschild, stunning family home, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. That's a home that you can move straight into and not spend a cent. Just get on with life and love the fact that you can walk to the tram in Glen Huntly Road and Princess Park.
Now, viewers, next week, and I know Gutty always waits for GPTV. It won't come out till Wednesday next week, so we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on GPTV. In the meantime, Phil, Melbourne Cup, big day. Got
Yep.
any plans? Anything
Yes,
happening?
I'm actually got to go to Sydney for my niece's
Oh,
wedding.
well, wow,
so
how about that?
Looking
Well,
forward to that. Thank you very
Emily,
much.
yeah.
Emily, yep.
Congratulations, the lovely Emily.
Emily and
Wonderful guy.
Daniel doing the signing all the documentation and getting into a mortgage together.
Starting the institution of marriage, Phil. What have you got to say about that?
Well, as Groucho Marx famously said, marriage is a fine institution, Gary, assuming you want to live in an institution.
That's a big wrap on GPTV. Have a great Derby weekend. Have a great Melbourne Cup day. We look forward to seeing you next week with all the big November real estate news. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.